Mosam sir, should I wait or should I start?
Just 1 minute, sir. We'll start.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Please continue, sir.
Okay, so am I audible, crystal and clear?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Okay, so the next topic is the decision control structure. Okay, before starting decision control structure, I forgot to actually explore this input function, because for the beginner actually the very first question is if you start with the C and C++, everyone is looking for scanf function in Python. Okay, how to print? Yeah, you know that print function, but how to scan? Scan means taking the input from the user. So there is an input function is there. Input function is very similar, like you can say that is a scanf function in Python. So this function is used to take the user input. Actually, it is not being useful in data science, but as per to actually for student point of view, okay, you should know this input function and how it works. Okay, so very first one is how to use this input function. So name is equal to input. Just put the input and in front of that, just call this function input. So input function will return a string. Always remember that it return a string only. So if I run this, so it will wait for the our user input. Okay, so if you are entering the user input, then actually it is continuously running. Okay, it is not, your command is not stop. It is continuously running until you put the some inputs. For example, I'm inputting here the as a Sandeep Foundation. Okay, so so your running gets stopped here. Okay, so it means you can say that this input is a blocking call. It is a blocking call. So until the user has entered something, that particular command is in infinite loop. So while is equal to input, but and name is print name. Yes, Sandeep Foundation will be printed. Okay, so remember that here the input is a return string. But we'll always use the scanf function. Before scanf, we use the printf function. So printf, enter your name, and then scanf percentage display like that. Suppose you want the message, what you have to print, Okay, so you can put the message here, enter your name in as an argument to the input function. So it will first print this, and after that it will provide the input box. Okay, so when I run this, so it will ask for enter your name, and after that the input box is there. So I'm giving the name as my name as a Ganesh. So it will give the name is equal to Ganesh. Yes. So what is the type of name? The type of name, as we have earlier said, that input function returns string. So if I'm printing the type of name, then it is a str, is string. Yes. But here, suppose if I want to input the number, okay, integer number, then how to input? So if I printing the number, enter the number, and any number if I'm giving, suppose 23, this number I'm giving, so 23 get input, but the num, if you're printing the num, actually it is 23. But if you're printing the type of num, then it is string. So you can't perform that operation. You can't perform the arithmetic operation that we can perform on integer. Okay, so what you need to do, whatever that string is there which contains that numbers, that is 23 is a string which contains a numeric value. Okay, so we have to convert that string which is having the numeric value into the integer. So which function? Yeah, integer function is used. So we know that we have seen in a first session, that is int function is generally used to convert your numeric string into the integer value. So whatever this input function is taking input, okay, so if it is in terms of the numeric string, then it converts that into the string integer, and now num type is the integer. Now the num1 is an integer, the same for the num2 is also integer. Now we can perform any arithmetic operation. Okay, so we can do this. So enter first number, suppose 12, the second number is a 13, so answer is 25, like that. But instead of that, suppose if I'm removing this int, I'm removing this int, and if I'm running the same program, and if I'm doing the input as a 12 and 13, so output is 12, 13. Why 12, 13? Because 12 is a string. Okay, now num1 is string, num2 is string. What is string plus string? It is a concatenation. Okay, 12 plus 13, that is a string concatenation. 12 string is concatenated with the 13, and you will get output as a 12, 13. So what you need to do, you have to use here int in front of that input function. So whatever the input, you have to convert into the integer. Getting this? So everyone getting this point? So 13, 14, if I'm giving the input, sorry, the first one is 13, second is 12, so it is 25. Okay, but in case of suppose mistakenly you have given this as a suppose AS or any it is not a numeric value, then it generates the error. Okay, it generates the value error. It generates the value invalid literal for int with base 10 AS. So AS cannot be converted into integer, so that's why it generates the error. So always remember that if it is asking for the input integer input, then you should give the integer input only. Getting this? Okay, now the next one is the decision control structure. Okay, so we already know decision control. Why we use decision control structure? Suppose there are some statements are there, and we want to execute that statement depends on some condition. Okay, depends on some condition we want to execute it. If that condition is satisfied, then only that condition, that statement should be executed. Otherwise, if the condition is not satisfied, that statement will not be executed. Otherwise, another set of instruction will be executed. Okay, so for example, if the student are get marks greater than 40, then you have to print the message as you are pass. Okay, and if the students are getting the message marks less than 40, then you have to print the message as you are fail. Okay, so then you have to use the decision control structure, because you have to either use you have to either print the message as a you are pass or message as a you are fail. Okay, there are several forms of if else. Like first one is if condition and then statement. So here generally if your if statement contains the more than one statement, your if your if statement contains a more than one statement, then generally in C and C++ we put the block there. We put block, and we put the block using that curly brackets. Okay, so we'll put the curly bracket, opening curly bracket, and after the statement get completed, we put the closing curly bracket. Okay, but here in Python actually what we do, we put if, then condition. Now this condition we can put in a circular bracket, or giving a circular bracket is not compulsory, and after that there is a colon is there. Okay, colon represent that this is not an end of my if. There are still if is present, if statements are present after this. So what are the statement which is related to the if? Okay, the statement having the one tab in front of that, the statement having the one tab in front of that statements are related to the if. So here the after if, after the colon, there are two statements having the tab in front of it. So you can consider that if this condition is true, these two statements get executed. If otherwise, suppose for example they have written this if condition like this. So if this condition is true, only say one statement get executed, only one statement. This statement 2 is not a part of if now. statement 2 is not a part of if. Okay, so this is very important to understand, because in Python the indentation very matter here. You can make a block of the if by using the indentation. Okay, so here also if condition then statement and then else then statement, these are other form of if else. Then yeah, else if, yeah, else if, in generally in a C language, uh, if you want to check the more than one conditions, if the first condition fail, we have to check the second one. If second condition fail, we have to check the third condition. If third condition fail, we have to check the fourth condition. There we are using the if else if statement, that's called the if else if ladder. But here there is not a statement like else if. Here the elif statement is there, elif. So if condition 1 is present, then execute this, whatever the statement present here. If you don't want to give the statements, then you have to put here pass. Okay, pass is generally called as a null statement. It's called as a null statement. So but you cannot give the statement like this. That is, if the statement is missing, if you are not giving the pass and you don't want to give any statement, so what you are doing, suppose you are not written any statement, your compiler gives the error. So to remove that error, so in front, instead of writing the statement, writing the pass is compulsory there. So if the condition 1 is satisfied, you don't want to anything. You don't want to do anything. So just put pass there. Then put for check for the condition 2. Okay, upon the condition 2, you have to execute statement 2. Okay, if the condition 2 is also failed, then condition 3, like that. Okay, so it is if else if ladder. Okay, here very important one, the colon is must. We have colon everywhere, the colon is must. If you're not putting the colon, then it is a syntax error. So this is a syntax. So logical operator, we already know, less than, greater than, not logical, relational operator. Relational operator, less than, greater than, less than, equal to, greater than, equal to, and not equal to. It is very similar like the other programming language, only 6 relational operator which give the relation between the 2 variables. So here the a equal to 10, b equal to 20, a not equal to b, the condition is true because a is 10 and b is 20. Some logical operator we already also seen, that is and, or, and not. Suppose if there are more than one condition and if you want to check more than one condition, generally we use the logical operator to combine the more than one condition. We put the logical operator and. Suppose if both condition is true, then only we have to execute, then we use and. If either of condition is true, then we have to execute, use or operator. And if condition is true and you have to make that condition as a false, then use not operator. Okay, so and operator evaluates all expression, it returns last expression if all expression evaluates to true, otherwise it returns the first that evaluates to false. Okay, so actually it is related to the C aptitude, Python aptitude. Okay, you can explore this latter one. I'm not exploring this, I'm leaving to you. This is related to the students. Now the next one is conditional operator. Conditional operator, you can think this conditional operator like a question mark and the colon in a C language. But here instead of question mark and colon, there's a if else is there. Okay, so here suppose one condition will understood this if else. We will understood this conditional operator with the help of one example. Age is equal to int, input, enter your age. Okay, so age get entered as an integer and I'm checking here. Print the minor, or the status is minor if age is less than 18. Status is minor if age is less than 18. Else the status is adult. Very simple. So if you run this program, so if you are putting the 19, then it will give the status as an adult. Okay, and again you are running, and if the age is 15, if your age is 15, then it will status is equal to minor. Like so, in a single line, yeah, if there is simple condition is there, then instead of putting the if else if, you can use this conditional operator also. Okay, so there are several examples are given here. several examples are given. Any integer is input through the keyboard, write a program. Okay, so some several examples. So you have to explore these examples. I'm not going into the detail because if, else, if, and you are the faculty, and most of the faculty know that how the if, else work. Okay. So they now we'll go into the again loop control structure. We have to explore this loop control structure very well because here the somewhat new for loop is there. Okay, for loop is somewhat different than the C and C++. Okay, so there are two types of loop in Python. First is while loop and for loop. Here the missing of do while loop is there. Okay, there no do while loop. So while loop is used to repeatedly execute the instruction as long as the condition is true. So if the condition is true, evaluate that particular statement or execute that particular statement. Continue evaluating, repeatedly evaluating until that condition is true. If the condition is false, statement will not be executed, and the next statement will get executed. The next statement after that while get executes. Okay, so you can see here syntax: while condition and then colon, while condition colon, statement 1, statement 2. Okay, so the colon is must. Yeah, giving the colon is must. And here, of which statement you want to repeatedly execute, you have to put the space or the tab in front of it. Here again the second one, while else. Okay, here one new modification is there. Generally in C, C++, Java, the else is always comes with the if. Else is always comes with the if. But here in Python, actually, the else block can be combined with the while loop. Else block can be combined. So here, but giving the else block is optional. Okay, it is optional. Okay, if you are not giving else block, it is not giving any error. Else block is optional. If it is present, then it is executed when the condition fails. Okay, so if the condition is fails, then it will execute the else block. So you can consider this else block as a cleanup. Okay, so whatever the actually you have done in your while loop, upon termination of that condition, if you want to do something at the last, then put that statement into the else statement. Okay, so if the while loop is terminated abruptly using the break statement, then else block will not execute. This is the exception here. Suppose if you are putting the break statement inside the while loop and suddenly that break statement get executed. So when the break statement get executed, else block is avoided there, else block is not completed. But if the it will get terminated with the condition, then else block is definitely executed. We'll see the example here. Now a equal to 1. Okay, so here one simple example. A equal to 1, variable equal to 1, while a less than or equal to 10, okay, so what is this end is equal to space? The end is equal to, by default, end is specified as a /n. That's why I'm not putting here. That's why I'm not putting this second argument of the print statement. Okay, always I'm putting print. Okay, so when you are using only print, then the end character is always /n. It is similar like your println statement in your Java, println statement. So here the print is nothing but your println statement, but you can modify that last character also. Okay, here I'm modifying the last character as a space. So instead of giving the /n as an end character, I am modifying it as a space. So here after a, print space. Okay, so here and a is incremented by 1. So here the condition will evaluate and you will get output as 1 to 10. But in front, suppose instead of this, if you are putting only print a, 1 to 10 will be printed vertically. Getting this? Okay, and you can also give any, suppose instead of space, if you are giving the comma, then all the output will be separated by comma, like that. Yes. Now the next one is the else block, how to use else block. So here the same program with the else. Okay, else is not compulsory, but here we have printed something in an else block. So when the condition is true, it will execute this statement. But when the condition is false at the first time, it will execute else. So it will print 1 to 10. After 10, when a becomes 11, the loop get terminated and it will print loop terminated. Getting this? Now next one is for loop. for loop, how to write the for loop. The for loop is used to iterate over the elements of a sequence such as string, tuple, or the list. Here, actually, the use of while loop and for loop is somewhat different. Okay, so in a C, C++, Java, generally we can replace the while loop with the for loop easily. But here the use of for loop is somewhat different. That is, the for loop is generally used to iterate over the element, iterate. Okay, so we want to visit the individual element of the particular list or the string or the tuples, then we can use the for loop here. Okay, so and what is the syntax for using the for loop? Here there is no I equal to 0, I less than or. So there is no condition, there is no initialization, there is no increment. Here directly the syntax of the for loop is for, first write on for, and then any variable name. Okay, so here this variable name is the user defined. We can define this for var in list. Whatever the list is there, this list is already predefined. The list can be a string, the list can be tuple, or the list can be string. Okay, so for var in the list, for every variable, the meaning of this statement is for every variable in list, execute this statement for every variable in list. So first time when you iterate at the first time, the var is the first value present in that list. Second, on second iteration, var is the second, var is assigned to the second value present in list. In third iteration, var is assigned to the third value of that particular list, like that. Okay, and the else also, else block can be also you can put for the for loop. So upon termination of this for loop, the else block get executed. Else block is optional. It is very similar, like the working of else block is same for the while loop and for loop. Okay, so after iterating all the iteration, the last is else block get executed. So very simple. Here the example for var in, and the list is given here. The list is here 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, for var in, and this list is given, and just I'm printing print var. Okay, so all the variable for first var is equal to 1, then second time var is equal to 2, third time var is equal to 3, fourth time var equal to 4, like that. So here the all var is having the all 6 values for every iteration. Okay, we don't want to iterate from the index. Okay, in C language actually we put I equal to 0 and I less than or equal to length minus 1, like that. But here no need. Here it will automatically assign the first value to the var at the first iteration, like that. Okay, so you can use this list as a separate list as a variable also. Okay, and then you can use that name of the list for iteration, like this 1 2 3 4 5. Getting this? Here if there is a string is there, for example my name is stored, name is equal to suppose Ganesh, so you can also iterate it. Suppose name for var in name. Okay, it is GANESH, like that. Okay, so getting? Yes, getting this, just type yes in chat box. Those who are getting, those who understood this topic, just type yes in chat box. Yes, I'm waiting for at least 2 or 3 yes. Yes, Sujay, yes, thank you. Dheeraj, Narayan, yes. Ashwini, good way, yeah. Priti, yes, thank you for replying. Now next one is a range function. A range function is again very important regarding to data science again. Okay, it can be used to generate the sequence of integer. Okay, sequence of integer, like a range of 10. If you are doing a range of 10, it generates the numbers from, not from, it generates the number from, it generates the number from 0 to 9. Okay, 0 to 9. So this as we have already discussed that colon. Okay, the start is included and the end is not included. Okay, so here we are putting the end. Okay, so end 10 is not included, start with the 0 to 9, 0 to 9. So range of 10 means it generates the number from 0 to 9. 10 20, it generates the number from 10 to 19 only. So 20 is not included, it is 20 is exclusive. 10 is inclusive, 20 is exclusive. Okay, 10, 20, and 2. Now the last three, third argument. The first argument is the start, second argument is the stop, and the third argument is the step value. Step value means generate the numbers from 10 to 19. Here the step value is not given, so that's why step value is considered as 1. So 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. These are the numbers. But if you are putting here the step size, then so first number is 10. So the next number should be 10 plus 2. So that is 12. So 12, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. These are the only possible values that we're generating with the range 10, 20, and 2. Getting this? Also here generate 20, 10, and minus 3. So here start the actually max value, and 10 is the mean value here. So you have to, you want the numbers, reverse numbers. Okay, from 20 to 10. 10 is not inclusive. Okay, 10 is not inclusive. So 11 is inclusive. So generate the numbers from 20 to 11 in the step of minus 2. Minus 2. Okay, so minus 2 means, so start with the 20. Start with 20. So my 20 minus 2, 18. 18 minus 2, 16. So 20, 18, 16, 14, and then 12, and 10 is not inclusive. Okay, only 12. Up to 12 it get executed. Okay, so in general you can use the range function as like this: range, start, stop, and the step. So it produces the sequence of integer from start inclusive to stop exclusive. Okay, so we'll put we do some exercises on range function. So 110, 1 to 9 get printed. 110 to 110 2. So 1 is inclusive, 10 is not inclusive, and step size is 2. So 1 3 5 7 9. This is the output. Okay. Now 10 1 minus 1. 10 1 minus 1. So it start with the 10. 1 is not inclusive, exclusive. So and it is decrementing. So decrementing means up to the 2 it will get printed. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, like this. Okay. So name is Python. Yes, we already seen. For ch in name, print ch. Yes. LST. Yes. So one list is there, and we want to iterate over that list. We can iterate. So for var in the list, for var is assigned to the every. So here you can notice here that this list is having some integer value, as well as one of the member is the string. So here dynamically the data type of the var get changes. So you can print the type of the var dynamically, it get changes. So here first type here the at the first iteration var is int, second time var is int, third time var is int, fourth is also var is int, but at the fifth time var is string, and at the last the var is float. So dynamically the value or the type of the var get changes. Okay, this is the advantage of using again Python. This facility is not available even in a C, C++, or Java. Okay, not no three basic languages are giving this type of facility. Write a program to print the cube of number from 1 to 10. Yes, 1 to 10 numbers cube we have to print. So 1 to 10, these numbers I want. So what is the range? The range should be 1, 11. The range should be 1, 11, because 10 you should include. Okay, 10 should be inclusive. So what is the next number to the 10? 11. So 1, 11. Okay, and by default the step size is 1. Okay, so if you are not giving here, then also okay, by default it is 1. So 1 to 10, and for every value of var, for every value of var, I am making its cube. So var raised to 3, var raised to 3. So it will print the cube from 1 to 10. Okay, so again one program. Write a program to print the sum of first 10 natural numbers. Okay, so sum is equal to sum plus I. So this was somewhat one basic program that we already have seen in the C, C++. Okay, so sum of first 10 natural numbers, we have to print it. Some contains some variable contains this for. So we can use this format specifier also actually. Okay, print the message, the format specifier, %d, and then not comma. Okay, you have to put in the here this modulo, and then after modulo there is a variable, which variable you want to use. Okay, so actually this is somewhat basics of decision control structure. So I'm waiting for your questions. 2 minutes I'm waiting. If the question is not there, I will start with the new topic. Okay, so any questions? You can type your question in chat window. Okay, if you don't have any question, then type no question. Okay, how to use collapse? Okay, so actually the same topic I have taken at the first only at the start of the session. The collapse can be used actually. Use the URL collab.research.google.com or search Colab on Google. Create account on Google Colab using your Gmail account and start with the new notebook. Okay, just click on the new notebook, and there are two types of cells: code cell, text cell. This is the code, this is the text cell, and this is the code cell. Okay, so whatever the statement you want to execute, just type that statement and just print shift enter, okay, or control enter, or otherwise click on this. Yes, Bhuvan sir has asked cascading of for loop. Yes, it can be possible. Cascading of for loop means the loop inside the loop can also be created. Like suppose for I in range of 1 to 3, so 1, 1 to 4, and for j in range of suppose 1, 4. Okay, so print I into j, comma, separator is equal to space. Okay, so you can use the for loop inside the for loop also. The same that generally we are using in C++. So it is online, so that's why actually it requires some time for running your program. For every value of I, actually, for every value of I, the j taken from 1 to 3. And upon execution of this statement, you will getting the output as first 1 into 1, then 1 into 2, then 1 into 3, then 1 into 3 only, then 2 into 1, 2 into 2, 2 into 3, like that. Okay, so you can also do some matrix operations. Okay, matrix operation can also be performed by using this cascading of the loop. Okay, so actually taking more time. It is might busy. Okay, it is busy actually. So any question? So you can start with this. You can click on the file, new notebook, to open a new notebook, empty notebook. Open notebook means already your notebook is stored in your Google Drive that you want to, if you want to open. So just click on it. Some examples are also given. These are some examples how to use it. Getting started with this external data, how to create external data, what are the features of Google Colapse. Okay, so that all is given. What is the maximum size we can load in? Oh, you're talking about what about maximum size? File size. It depending on your, I think, file size of what? IPYNB file? IPYNB file or the data file, or your data CSV file? or the Excel file? Which file? Okay, so recent files you can get here. Go for, if you suppose if your IPYNB files are stored in Google Drive, you can open from here Google. Suppose GitHub is there. For example, if you want to open some repository, so my repository is there, https:// then www.github.com/Arduino Ganesh/ and then python. Okay, so just look for the this repository and you are getting this. Okay, so just open in a new tab. Okay, so here all the files you are getting by using GitHub. Okay, otherwise you can go to that GitHub URL. You can go to the GitHub URL and you can manually download one by one. And suppose if you have already one of the file available in your local drive, and if you want to upload it, just go to the last one, upload, choose file, and just open it by giving the path. Okay, so actually it is a very easy one. Rename is there, save copy in drive. Actually it auto save is there, but you can also save it by using Control S. You can also download this IPYNB file as a PY file also, PY file. Generally this PY file, IPYNB file cannot be run on idle. Okay, ideally. Okay, idle is generally it is a default editor came with the Python. So if you want to run this same on your idle, you need a PY file. So just download as download PY. And if you have the locally installed Jupyter notebook and if you want to work on it, you can download this file as a IPYNB file. Okay. So these are some of these things you can explore by yourself. Runtime actually run before, as the name suggests. Actually just explore one by one. Run all means all the statement get run. Interrupt execution, suppose if you are running one of the instruction and it is came in a directly infinite loop, so interrupt execution, restart runtime. Suppose hang, if your system get hang, then you can put the restart runtime, restart and run. All the commands are the self-explanatory. Okay, there is no such a difficult things that is being that is available in this Google Colabs. Very easy thing. Just you have to search. You must know what is the code cell and what is the text cell. The text cell means information cell. Code cell means actual code cell. Okay, so it may where your command get decided. Okay, so in a code cell also you can put the comment also. Okay, but I refer that if you want to do some more information, then use the text cell. Just like for this. Okay, here to actually explain the decision control structure, I have inserted the code text cell. Text cell is there. Okay, so this is a text cell and this is the code cell. This is my code cell. Getting this? Okay, so next one is the fourth one is the data type list. Okay, at least I have to cover all the data types. So that's why actually very less duration is there, because in a 3 hours you have to learn the whole Python, and not possible. Actually, it is not possible. But you can consider this as a revision. So list data type. So list is an advanced data type. Consider this list as a dynamic array. It's considered a dynamic array. So list is considered as a container. Okay, it is a container where you can store some multiple data items. Okay, it is a container which contains the multiple data items. Okay, by multiple data items means the data items having the different data types. Okay, different data types items if you are storing, then it's called as a list. So generally C language we define as a structure. The structure contains the heterogeneous data item. Here also the list contains the heterogeneous data item, but here the list can be accessed as an array. So it contains a dynamic array which contains heterogeneous data items. So it is an ordered list. Remember that it is an ordered collection which can be indexed and sliced. So whenever you are storing some data, it is always stored in an ordered manner. So that's why we can give some index, and also we can make a slice. Okay, the slice operation, how to do the slice operation we already studied. So using colon operation we can get the substring, like we can get the sublist also here. Lists are commonly used for handling the variable length data. Okay, variable length data. Though list can contain dissimilar types, usually they are the collection of similar types. Like suppose animals. Okay, so I want to store the names of animals. So here, how to create a list? Just put the square bracket. Square, always remember that square bracket represent list. Square bracket represent list. And here the animal names I'm providing, marks I'm providing. Here the actually the number I'm providing. So it is 10, 5. Okay, multiply by 5. The 10 list multiply by the 5, so it contains the 10 5s, and it is an empty list. Okay, so though it contains the dissimilar data items, but majorly we are storing some similar items inside the list. Okay, so how to access the data items of the list? Very simple, using its index. And how the index works, we know that positive indexing, negative indexing. Positive index known as a forward traveling, forward iteration, and the negative index is called as a reverse index, iteration. So in forward indexing or the positive indexing, actually index start with the 0. So marks of 0, if I'm printing, I'm getting 69. If I'm using marks of -1, then I'm getting 67. Okay, very similar like the statement that we have studied in the last session. Okay, so marks of 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, 67. Marks of 3 is 67. And there I'm putting marks of -1. Marks of -1 is also 67. Okay, marks of -1 is 67. Marks of -2, it is 54. Okay, so entire list can be printed by just using the name of the list. Okay, so if you want to print the whole list, just use print and the list name. The whole list is printed as it is. My name is John. Yeah, my name is John. The all list get printed as it is. Yes. So basic list operation, very important. So unlike the string, lists are mutable. Okay, strings we already studied. Strings are the immutable. We can't change the content of the string. We can't change the. We can assign the string reference to other string, but it doesn't mean that you are changing the string. But here we can change the content. We can change the content of that particular list. Okay, so my name is John. Okay, instead of John, I want to replace it with the Mary. So how to replace it? So just put how to access the John? Its index is 3. So LST of 3 equal to Mary. Okay, when I'm making LST of 3 equal to Mary, and if I'm printing this, the John will be replaced by Mary, and you will get the content of LST as my name is Mary. Yeah, getting this? Yes. To verify that this is a mutable, you can print its memory address. Okay, so before modifying, what is the memory address, and after modifying, what is the memory address? If it is mutable, then this ID should be same. This memory address should be same. If it is not mutable, then this ID should be different. Okay, so let's check this. You can see here, before modifying, the address is this, and after modifying also the address is same. After modifying, the address is same. So it means that I have verified here the list is the mutable. But the same thing if I'm done with the string, then what happened? Name is equal to suppose Ganesh. So first name is equal to Ganesh, and I'm printing the ID of name. I'm printing the ID of name, and then I'm again changing the name. I'm changing the name. I'm changing the name. Name is equal to suppose Sandeep, and again I'm printing ID of name. Okay, so if it is mutable, the address should be same. If it is not mutable, it is immutable, address is different. Okay, so it is a mutable, so address is same, but we know that here string is a immutable. So you can see here what happened with the string. Firstly, the ID of name is the 168, the address end is 168, but as soon as you modify that string with the Sandeep, that means that the other memory block is get assigned which contains Sandeep, and now name is pointing to that Sandeep, and this is the ID of that Sandeep. This is the ID of Ganesh. This is not the ID of name. This is the ID of the Ganesh and the ID of Sandeep. Getting this? Yes. So here I have proved that your list is a mutable and the string is a immutable. Okay, now next one is slicing operation. Num of list is equal to given, and I want some sublist. Okay, sublist I want. So how to get the sublist? It is not sublist actually. It is actually the addition. You are adding the new things. Adding the new things into the list. That is num underscore list 4:8. You are adding as a 50, 60, 70, and 80. So starting from index 4 to 7, you are adding as a 50, 60, 70, and 80. Okay. So 0, 1, 2, 3 already there. 4 to 7 you are adding. Okay. Slicing actually means this. The meaning of slicing is, suppose you want only the members from suppose 2 to 5 only. Okay, 2 to 5 only. That's called as slicing. So only the 3 items will be printed: index 2, index 3, and index 4. This item will be printed. So here the example is adding the new content in the list. So adding a new item into the list. So you can update the list also. This is called updating the list. Num of list 2:5 is null num of list. Okay, so 2:5 I am making as an empty list. Okay, so I'm deleting that numbers. So what happened? So first num of list is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. Now what happened? 2 to 5. So what is 2 to 5? 2 to 5, 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2. Okay, so 2, 3, and 4. 2, 3, and 4. Here 2, 3, 4. This sublist I'm making as empty. So this 3 get deleted, and now the new list, num list, contains only 10, 20, 60, 70, and 80. So always remember that while doing such an operation, always make sure that you have made a backup of your list. If you are not made the backup of the list, your list is the actual list get modified here. The actual list get modified. You are all the data that you already suppose you have read, that you can delete it. You can delete directly. Okay, because it's in place command. A new list can be created using the existing list. Suppose list 1 is there, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you want to create the list 2, which contains the content of list 1 as well as some new content. So you can make the new list. So list 2 is equal to list 1 plus list 2. So addition is also supporting. Addition can also support. Okay. So list 2 contains 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it is called as a concatenation, list concat. I'm concatenating the list. So two lists can be merged to create a new list. Two lists can be created. Two lists can be merged to create a new list. Okay, so merging operation is possible. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually it is the same here, but here only the hardcore is there, and here the name is there. Okay. The list in item. The list item can be searched using in operation. Yes, in operation we already seen. In means it returns true or false. If 5 in present in list 3, so list 3 is this 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Okay, I want to check here 5 is present in list 3 or not. Okay, 5, yes, 5 is present, so it should return true. So when I run this, so it returns true, it will print true. But suppose instead of 5, if I'm giving 50 in list 3, yeah, it is present or not? Yeah, it is not present, so it returns false. Getting that? So in operation can also be used with the list. So sorting, yeah, sorting is very important one, because suppose we have the data, and if you want to represent that data in some proper format, so generally we need to sort that particular list. So how to sort? So there is a function called as a sorted. Okay, function called as a sorted function. It is an external function actually. Sorted functions. The input is my underscore list, and it returns this sorted list. It returns sorted list. Actually, the my list is not changed here. My list is as it is. My list is unchanged, but sorted function will sort the list and it will return the sorted list. It will return the sorted list. 4, 5, 23, 45, 87, and the 90. Getting this? So again, deletion, deletion operation can be also performed. So like if your list is this, and if you want to delete one of the number, for example, if you want to delete the number which is present at the index 2, so my list of 2, okay, my list of 2 means 0 1 2 0 1 2 23 you want to delete, so 23 you want to delete, so delete my underscore list of 2, so here 23 get deleted, so second index item get deleted. You can delete the sublist also. Delete my underscore list 2:4. The sublist can be deleted. So here 2 to 4, so like 2 and 3 only. So 2, 5 and 90 get deleted. 5 and 90 get deleted. So you can delete the whole list also. Delete my underscore list and colon. If you are giving the colon, actually the whole item get deleted, but list is there. Okay, list is there in a memory. Okay. And my list is pointing to the null list. My list is pointing to null list. But instead of this, instead of using this bracket and colon, if you are directly use my underscore list, so it means that you are deleting the whole memory. So you are deleting the memory only directly. Memory you are deleting. So and reference is also deleted. So when after deleting, and if you are trying to access again the my list, you are trying to access my list, so it will give error. So there is my list is not defined because you are already deleted. If you delete, the reference get deleted. But here instead of that, for example, here I am again making my list, and here I'm only deleting the items. I'm not deleting the list. I'm deleting the item present in that list. So what is my list contain? My list contains the null list. So if I try to print my list, it will print null. It will print null list. The list is not having any items. Getting the difference between this and this, deleting the whole list and deleting the items. Now conversion into list. Suppose if you have the string with you, and if you want to convert that string into list, we know that there is a type conversion. List of string, you will get a list here. What is the list? The list contains the all items separated here. So every character is separated out here, SPIDERMAN, like that. Okay, to get the length of string, length of list. Okay, so if you have already list with you, name of list, and if you want to calculate the what is the length, how many characters or how many numbers present in that list. Okay, length, it is not in terms of bytes, it is contains the how many items present in the list. So length, so how many items? 9 items are present. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. 9 items are present. Okay. You can use the max function on list, max of list. Whatever the maximum value get written here. So here your list contains the maximum value as 3, 4, 5. So it returns 3, 4, 5. You can apply the mean function also. The minimum value is the 5. So upon execution of this statement, you will get the 5. Again, they get the sum of all elements. Okay, so if your my list contains only numbers, okay, the sum will only works if your my list, or if your list contains only numeric value. If only numeric value, then only the sum get works. If one of the item is the string value, then it never works. Okay, so it will generate error. So in case in my case, actually my list contains all the numeric value. If I run this code, you will get the output as 448, that is, which is the addition of all the numbers. Okay, we can check if a list is empty or not using not operator. Okay, so if the list is there, and I want to check that if the list contains some items or not, or if the list is empty. Okay, so we can use the not operator. If not of LST, if the condition is true, if not of LST, this condition is true, then this statement get executed. Empty list, we cannot proceed. You can see here the output. Now it is empty list, so we cannot proceed. But suppose if list contains some item, suppose 56, one item, so it doesn't generate any message, because else is we are not written, else we are not written. Getting this? Okay, just type with me. Are you with me, or are you getting all the points? Just type with me in chat box. How many are of you are listening to me? Just type, or just type me in chat box. Or otherwise it is called as a one-way communication only. Yes, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, total 65 participants are there. Yes, 19 11 12 13 14 16 17. Yes, okay, thank you. Otherwise what if you are not responding, then I am getting that I'm only talking to nobody. So would take the next point, that is shallow copy. How the shallow copy works: on assigning one list to another, both refer to the same list. Changing one changes the other. So like if list 1 is equal to this and list 2 equal to list 2, list 2 is equal to list 1, it doesn't mean that you are creating the new list. You are pointing to the both the list 1 and list 2 are pointing to the same list. Yes, got this difference? List 1, yeah, already memory is there. List 2 you are creating, it means that list 2 is also pointing to the same memory. If you are modifying it using the list 2, then the same effect will be there. The same effect will be there on the list 1. Okay, so modify or using list 2 will affect the list 1, because both are pointing the same. Okay, so to prove this, yes, yeah. So here list 1 and list 2 both are printing, both get printed. Let's run. To prove this, we can print the address of both. Both address are same. You can see here both address are same, list 1 and list 2. It means that list 1 and list 2 pointing to the same memory. Okay, let us modify. List 1 of 0 equal to 100. I'm making list 1. What is list 1? List 1 is this 10 20 30 40 and 50. Okay, so instead of 10 I'm doing 100. Okay, and let's run this program and printing the list 1 and list 2. You can see here I'm changing only list 1, but here if I'm accessing the same memory using list 1, you will get modified memory, and same you are getting by accessing the using the list 2. Same memory you are accessing, because there is a memory is there, and that memory you are modified, but pointer is still there. Both pointer are still pointing to that memory. Okay, so it means that list 1 and list 2 both are referring to the same memory or the list. Okay, now in some cases actually we don't want that type, that's called as a shallow copy. Okay, this is called as shallow copy. But we want to create another copy. Okay, if I want to create another copy, That's called a deep copy. Then you can use this technique, like list 1 is equal to this, create a list 2 which is an empty one, and now add it. List 2 is equal to list 1 plus null. What is list 2? List 1 plus null. List 1 plus null is list 1 only, but actually it will create a new memory. So we can again check the address of the list 1 and list 2. So though the list 1 and list 2 having the same data, here list 1 and list 2 both are having the same data, but you can check its addresses. The address of list 1 is different and the address of the list 2 is different. Getting this? Getting? Yes. So if I'm modifying list 1, does it affects to list 2? Does it affects to list 2? No, because both addresses are different. List 1 is different address, list 2 is different address. List 1 and list 2 both are different address. If you are modifying only list 1, then list 2 is as it is. So this is very important regarding to the data science again. While creating the data processing or data cleaning, actually some cases we want to apply some cleaning process on our data or the list which is present in the list, and we don't want to modify the other one. Okay, so we want to create the copy of that particular data. So how to create the copy? Deep copy. So this use this technique. Okay, so deletion of list, actually this already studied. Okay, we can find out whether the two list variables are referring to the same list or not. Okay, we can find out whether two list variables are referring to the same list or not. Like list 1 is this, list 2, list 3, list 1, yeah, all are pointing to the same memory. So list 1, list 2 and list 3 all are, so that memory is having the 3 references now, and now list 4 is different memory. List 4 is a different memory. So it means that one memory, two memories are there, one contains 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and another memory contains ABC. And first memory is pointing by the list 1, list 2 and list 3, and the next memory is pointing by the list 4 only. So I want to check here, is list 1 and list 2 pointing to the same memory or not? So use the is operation. List 1 is list 2, is list 1 and list 2 both are same, pointing to the same memory? Yes, if it is pointing to the same memory, then it means true. List 1 is list 3, yes. List 4 is list 1, list 4 is different one, list 1 is different, so it is different one, or it prints false. And is not is also there, is not. List 1 is not list 4, so it means that I want to check that is both list are different or not. Yeah, yes, it is different, so it prints true. Getting this? Is and is not. So in some cases, if you have the references, and if you want to check that both references are pointing to the same memory or not, then you can use is. It is possible to compare. Yeah, comparison is also possible. That is, A is 1 2 3 1 2 5 4, B is also 1 2 5 4. So here, if A less than B, so it is compare by item by item. Item by item it get compared. If first and second item, so say second, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, this type of the item it get printed. Okay, so here both memories, both are the same content, 1254 1254, so A is equal to B. Okay, so suppose if I'm making instead of 5 I'm making 8, so here now B is greater than A, now B is greater than A, so A is less than B, so answer is A is less than B. Okay, so like that the relational operator also you can use with the list. So what are the different list methods? We can explore it. List 1 dot append, you can append the new items. Remove, we can remove the one of the item present in the list 1. For example, suppose list 1 contains this. Okay, I want to remove this 23, so just remove 23. So 23 get removed and you will get a that particular removed list. Pop function is somewhat you can say that just like the remove function, but it remove the last element. It remove the last element. Whatever the last element is there, which element get added, 22 is added. Okay, 22 is added at the last. So the 22 get removed. Yes, 22 get removed, and the remaining list is as it is. Okay. Now pop2, if the argument is given to pop function, the particular index you have to give, particular index you have to give. So I want to remove the second index element. Second index element I have to give, remove. So my list one is 34, 54, 23. So what is the second index? 23. So 23 is get removed. So 23 is get removed, and you will get the particular list. Okay. So if you want to remove the index which is not present in that list, it will generate an error. So index out of range error, because 100 index is not present. Again, insert function. So at the third index, I have to insert 50. So this insert function can be used. Reverse is again one of the function. It reverse the content. It reverse the content. That is, first is goes to last, and last is goes to first, like that. So it reverse, all get reverse. Then sort function. Okay, sort function can be used here. We have seen sorted function, but sorted function will not modify the list. Okay, it is not modifying the list. Okay, but sort function is modifying the list. Okay, so here the list is given 34, 54, 23, 76, 44, and 4. So before sorting, we have printed it. Okay, and we apply the sort function on that list, and after sorting, you will get here. Okay, you are getting 423, 423, 54. That is your ascending order. Okay, and if you want the descending order, sorting, then you have to put here reverse is equal to true. Okay, when you put the reverse equal to as an argument to the sort function, then it will be sort by the descending order. Okay, so count how many times does 45 get appear. 45, 45, 45 appeared 3 times, so it would print 3. So I want the index of 65, that is at what index the 65 gets stored. You can get the index also. Yes, if the particular item is not present, so 100, I want the number which is present. I want the index that is for the 100 value. Okay, so 100 is not present in your list one, so it generate the error. 100 is not in list. Okay, so there are again some operations. Okay, so this is related to the list. You can explore it again. I have already shared this with you. So meanwhile, again we'll open the next one as a tuple. Okay, so let's discuss this tuple. So tuple, you can consider this tuple as a similar to the list, but somewhat restricted list. Okay, somewhat restricted list. Whatever the content that you can store on list, the same content you can store on tuples. But what is the limitation? The limitation is the list is a mutable. You can modify the content of list, but tuple is a immutable. You cannot change the content of the tuple. Once it is declared, that is final. So you can consider the tuple as a constant list. You can consider the tuple as a constant list. Yes. So, and but how to create the tuple? You can create the tuple by using that circular bracket. List can be created by using the square bracket. Okay, so that you can create by using the circular bracket. So how to create tuple? Empty tuple can be created by using this 10 circular bracket, empty circular bracket. So it create the empty tuple. But if you want to create the tuple with only one value, very important one, after giving the one item, you have to put the semicolon. This giving the semicolon is compulsory if your tuple is only having single item. Okay, if you are not giving that comma, then b is considered as an integer. B is considered as an integer. Always remember that. Okay, so tuple with a one item, comma after the 10 is compulsory, is empty tuple, and this b is equal to tuple with a one item. So if the comma is not given, suppose here I'm not giving the comma, then the type of C is integer. Okay, type of C is integer. If I'm giving the comma, then the type of C becomes tuple. Okay, that is the difference. So tuple with the multiple items, yes, you can create the tuple with the multiple items, and heterogeneous data also you can add. While initializing the tuple, we can drop a circular bracket. The circular bracket is not compulsory. So John, comma 3078.90. So by default, it is taken as a tuple. You can check it with the type of D. It is tuple. To create the tuple, we can use the built-in function tuple, like tuple John Wick. Okay, tuple list. Okay, so this already list is there, and you want to convert that list into tuple, you can use it. This is the comprehension. The comprehension we have created, like for every value of x, for the range 0, 1 to 5, the x is iterate for 0 to 5, and for every value of x, it is taken as a raised to 2. X is raised to 2. Okay, so the result is considered 0, 1, 4, 9, and 16. Okay, so a square. So tuple range of 5. So like that, you can create. There are multiple ways of creating the tuples. Accessing the tuple is very similar, like you are accessing the list using the only its index. You can access it. Okay, my negative index is also valid. Only the modifying the particular item is not being valid here. Modifying the, so it means you can't do message of 0 equal to 2. You can't do there. It will give error. So like you can check here, message of 0 if I'm giving a suppose 23. Okay, so if I'm running this, it will print the message of 0, message of 1, message of 0, message of 1. But if you are trying to change the value, that is message of 0 equal to 23, so what is the error? Tuple object doesn't support item assignment. So item assignment is not supported, like your string also not supporting the item assignment. Okay, so yes, accessing is again same. Now we'll only taking the somewhat new in tuple. This is again same, max number, mean number, sorted, sum. Yeah, it is very same number, same function that is available for list. Max of t, maximum of the number tuple get printed like that. Okay. Again, addition of tuple. Yeah, we'll directly see on some. It is possible to create tuple of tuples. Yes, tuples of tuples we can also create. List of list also we can create. Okay, suppose if the already one A tuple is there, B tuple is there, and we can create the C having the two tuples A and B. Okay, if we are printing the C, first item of C is A, and second item of the C is B. So one question for the participant. I want to access the 7. I want to access 7. How to access 7? Okay, my output should be 7. How to access 7? The question for the participant. I want to access 7. How to access the 7? Yes, I'm waiting for you only. I want to access 7. How to access 7? So 7, what is the index of 7? No, there is no individual index of 7 is given. Okay, 7 is present. Atul, Bhuvan, Atul, Sawan. Yes. Print B, comma 6. Okay, I want to access it using C. I want to access using C. Not a circular bracket. Prema Desai ma'am. Not circular bracket. That is a square bracket. I have to put here square bracket because we are accessing using the index. So first index is what is the tuple? What is the tuple? Present 7 is present. The 7 is present in the second index. 7 is present in the second index of C. The first index of C is 0, second index of C is 1. So 1, okay, and then again second one. And in the first index of C, what is the index of the 7? 0, 1, 2. 0, 1, 2. 0, 1, 2. So the answer is C1 of 2. The answer is C1 of 2. If I'm using C1 of 2, you are getting the answer as 7. Getting this? If you are only printing C of 1, so what is get printed? It printed the second tuple. It printed second tuple. But in that second tuple, I want the second items. So C1 of 2. Yes, it is very similar like your multi-dimensional array in C language. How to access the multi-dimensional array. Okay. A tuple may be embedded. Yes, tuple may be embedded. So first item, second item, and third item. Third item contains the tuple only. Okay, so any combination we can do. Any combination we can do. Okay, so this is tuple. The next one is the dictionary. Okay, I'm not going into the set. Dictionary. Your dictionary is important one. Okay, so what is dictionary? Again, dictionary is the third advanced data type. It is a collection of key value pairs. Collection of key value pair. Generally in a list and tuple, to access that variable, to access the content or element of your list and tuple, we generally use its index. We use index. Okay, so it is ordered list. It is ordered list. Dictionary also ordered list, but here, there we can access it by using its index. But here, the every data that is stored in the dictionary must have the key associated with it. For example, okay, for example here, now suppose you want to store your name. So this name should be a key associated, and that key should be a unique key. Okay, the key should be a unique key. Okay, one unique key should be present associated with that value. So you can consider the dictionary as a collection of key value pairs. Collection of key value pair. Your data is always come with the key and value, key and value, key and value, key and value, like that. Okay, just like you consider as a XML value in a XML file. In a XML, you are storing the data with the tag. Okay, so what is the data that get defined by the tag? So here also you can consider this Anil is a data and the A1 is a tag. So to get the data, I must know the tag. Okay, if I know the tag, I can access it. Okay. So here, how to create the dictionary? You can create the dictionary by using the curly bracket. Okay, so just remember the difference. List is square bracket, tuple is circular bracket, and the dictionary is the dictionary is the curly brackets. Okay, so here the example, first example is the creating the empty dictionary. Second example is this is the first data. How the data and key value will be stored using the colon. Okay, so first is key, second is data. Key, data, and all the data should be separated by comma. Okay, so now this dictionary is having the 3 data. Now list. So I'm printing it. So A I'm printing, B I'm printing, and the third item, the third type from which you can create the dictionary, from keys. Okay, the keys is stored as a list somewhere else. All the keys has been stored somewhere else as a list, and now you want to create it a dictionary from that keys. So there is a function called the dict.from keys. Here it is a list of the keys, and here instead of 50 you can put here the list of the data. But here the data, the length of data and the length of key should be matched. Okay, if the length here the 50 is only one data, so all the keys has been assigned with the 50. Okay, now key values in a dictionary are unique, but different keys may have the same value. Like 1 is the key, apple is the data, 2 is the key, 1 plus is the data. Okay, like that. Okay, so here 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, we suppose if I'm trying to give the key both two, here the two data items having the same key, two data items having the same key. So what happened here, you can see. Okay, so actually yeah, so what happened here now? Here firstly 1 apple, okay, get inserted, 2 1 plus get inserted, 4 Samsung get inserted, but at the same time you are inserting the 4 Sony. So what happened with the 4 Samsung? 4 Samsung will be overwritten by the 4 Sony, and when you printing the D1, actually you are getting the value as a 4 Sony only. Okay, so 4 Samsung will be overwritten by the 4 Sony. So remember that only unique keys should be there. Unique keys 1 2 4 5 unique keys. Okay, the repeated keys will be not considered, but if there are the unique keys, the data can be repeated. The data can be repeated. So 1 apple, 2 1 plus, 3 Samsung, 4 Sony, 5 Sony. Okay, 4 and 5 different keys, but data is same. Okay, so same keys cannot be there, but same data can be there. How to access the dictionary elements? You can access the dictionary element by using its key. So my result of English, if I'm doing, so what is the English? 89. Okay, so it gets printed as a 89, printed as a 89. So instead of index, I'm using the key. Simple. Instead of index, I'm using key. And if you want to print the whole key value pairs, then you can use directly the name of the dictionary. So print my result, the whole dictionary is printed. Dictionary can be iterated over the 3 ways. Like you can iterate over using the for loop. Okay, so for sub marks in my underscore list dot items sub marks. So my underscore list dot items. Okay, you have to use dot items. If you are using dot items, then subject marks, this marks. So keys get assigned to sub, and 67 is assigned to marks. Okay, and I'm printing it. So you can get the output as first is subject, Marathi 67, English 89, social class 69, mathematics 80. So in this way, we can iterate over the list. We can iterate over the dictionary. Okay, we can iterate over the keys also. Okay, previously we have used dot items. Okay, so here I'm using dot keys. So here, what is the output? I'm getting only the subjects. I'm only getting only subject. I'm not getting the values because I'm iterating over the keys only. Okay. Now this giving the dot keys is optional. Giving the dot keys is optional. So it means that if you are only using my underscore result, you are getting the this result. Okay, you are getting this result. Like here also, here I'm removing this. I'm getting only the keys. Okay, so dot keys giving also the same result. Dot keys giving the same result. If I want only values, then you can use only values. Okay, here I'm accessing only values. Okay, values. And if you have the keys with you, you can easily get the values. So how to get the values? My underscore result of k. K contains subject name. So my result of k, that is subject name. What is the value? 67. Get printed here. So there are several ways to actually print or to get the values of the dictionary. Some dictionary operation. You can modify the content of the dictionary using the key. So if you want to modify the marks of the mathematics, you can get it by using the assignment operator. Just assign it equal to, because dictionary is a mutable. You can modify the content of the dictionary. You can delete the dictionary, you can delete the data items. Yeah, the max function, min function, we can apply in, not in. This function is also you can apply. Okay, you can convert the dictionary to list, list to dictionary. Yes. So methods. Yes, this method is important one. Okay. Suppose this is my dictionary. Okay, and this is the another dictionary. This is another dictionary which contains the another marks. I want to insert the second dictionary into the first one. Okay, so the function is update d. This is very important. You can note down this for the data science. It majorly use my underscore result dot update d. Update d. So that is your dictionary is updated with the given dictionary, and you will get the new result as a dictionary modified with the this new subject, computer and science 1, computer and science 1. Okay, dictionary can be nested. Okay, so classroom is the dictionary where it is having the 3 item. For this is the first item, second item, and third item. First item is itself a dictionary which contains roll number 1. Anil is having the roll number 1, age 19 and marks 78.19. Sunil is having like this information. Okay, so this is my classroom. It is 3. So if I want to access the marks of Sunil, yes, can you tell me how to access the marks of Sunil? How to access the marks of Sunil? Classroom of, okay, classroom of Sunil. So when you are printing this classroom of Sunil, the whole list will be, whole dictionary will be printed. So this is get printed. Okay, but I don't want the whole dictionary. I want only the marks. I want only the marks of Sunil. So what I want to do here, again give the second second bracket and give the second keys marks. So here I'm printing the marks of Sunil. So it is 80.45. Okay, so actually this is the end of the dictionary. I want to cover the more, but the time is already get over. 4:37 is there. So we can stop here. If you have any question, then you can ask me. We'll give 10 minutes for question and answer. Yes, now it's your turn. Yes, you can type your question in chat window, or if you're not having any question, then
If you have any question, you can type it, or you can unmute yourself and ask directly to the sir.
okay. Actually, my same course is available on Udemy. You can visit this link. Udemy Python, I think. Okay, if you want to enroll, then there is this quiz. The same course is available. You can explore the more things by using, and otherwise all the contents I have been given here. The link is already shared, github.com/arduino-ganesh/python. All the IPYNB file is there. You can explore more things by using this IPYNB file. Just download it, upload it on your Google Colabs. Okay, so anyone wants to give the feedback? Yeah, from participant.
Yes, please welcome.
It's from participant. Yes, thank you. Yes, Parag Donde, sir, can you send us all material? Yes, I already shared the link with you. That is link github.com, or otherwise the sir will share it with you. Okay, github.com/arduino-ganesh/python. because there is very small okay, span of time. Yes, Komal ma'am has already explained that very short period is there, only 3 hours, and not possible to cover the whole Python in a 3 hours. Actually, it required 2 or 3 days, minimum 2 or 3 days. But for data science starting, this is sufficient. Yes, yes. So my number, my mobile number you can take from this, that is 7588615326. My mobile number I'm giving 7588615326. After this session, if you have any queries, if you have any doubts, then you can call me directly, or this is also my WhatsApp number. You can WhatsApp me your doubts. Yes. So my online lectures are there, online courses are there. My LMS website is there, careerlifestylehub.com. Okay, career, CAREERLIFESTYLEHUB, careerlifestylehub.com. You can visit and you can see there what are the different courses available there. I'm also available on Udemy. Okay, so I think, sir, there is no questions. So
Yes, sir. Yes. So thank you, sir. So now, on behalf of Sandeep Foundation, Sandeep Institute of Engineering and Management, Nashik, we would like to take this opportunity to express our heartfelt thanks to you for serving as a resource person within a short period of time. We appreciate the time and efforts that you have spent during this event. And we also appreciate, sir, your dedication to this session in such situation. Participants, I'm very sorry to say that sir's father-in-law yesterday expired due to the corona, but still he dedicated his time to this session. So we really appreciate sir for his commitment and his dedication toward this session. So this session is very live and engaging, through provoking and executive. It was enjoyed by one and all participants. Within a short period of time, you have given so much depth and informative session to all of us. So again, thank you, sir. Thank you for your contribution, time and efforts to the success of this STTP. And I hope the same cooperation in the near future as well. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
thank you, sir.
Thank you, participants. Hope you enjoyed today's sessions, Python programming and initial introduction. So from tomorrow also, we conduct the same Python continuation of Python. Some basics, again, we need to cover for the basic of data science. And after 2 days, then we'll start the in-depth of data science, basically. Okay, that is a different algorithm. But first, tomorrow also, we dedicated a whole day towards the Python. It's a basic, new advanced versions. Okay, so we will join tomorrow morning 10 a.m. sharply. Thank you. Please fill the attendance and feedback form posted in your WhatsApp group as well as in this chat box. So please cooperate with this.
Okay, actually, I want to again
yes, sir.
Yeah, the link I have shared with you, like link.ganeshattare.com/review. Okay, so the participant can visit this website and give the inputs regarding, or your feedback regarding to the session on that particular link. Okay. Yes. So it is actually online feedback system.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir, for your cooperation. Thank you, participants. We'll meet tomorrow morning sharp 10 a.m. Thank you.